The Department of Veterans Affairs facing a new headache tonight. New reports that a medical center under construction in Denver is more than a year behind schedule and critically over budget. It was originally expected to cost $328 million. Now that's more than double to $800 million. This comes on the heels of reports that at least 40 veterans died waiting for appointments at the Veterans Affairs healthcare system in Phoenix. Many of those vets put on a secret waiting list allegedly meant to cover up long wait times for treatment. Well, the House is set to vote next month on whether to hold Lois Lerner in contempt after the former IRS official refused to testify about the targeting of conservative groups. This according to a memo from Majority Leader Cantor. My next guest is a member of the committee that voted to hold Lerner in contempt earlier this month. Joining me now, Congressman Ron DeSantis, a member of the House Oversight Judiciary Committees, is also a former Navy JAG officer. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us tonight from Jacksonville.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, let's begin with Lois Lerner if we can. We are now hearing claims that Lerner and the Department of Justice are being implicated in this targeting scandal about some emails and threats of prosecution. What have you heard?
Well, that's right. We uncovered emails in which the Department of Justice approached Lois Lerner to discuss potentially prosecuting some of these conservative groups, and that was at the suggestion of a Democratic senator from Rhode Island. And so the issue is the Department of Justice was in discussions with the IRS about this targeting situation, but then since the targeting scandal broke, guess who's supposedly in charge of conducting the investigation into the targeting scandal? Eric Holder's Department of Justice. So this raises serious questions about whether using criminal prosecution is something that would at all be appropriate. I don't think it would be. But also, how can you investigate the targeting if your own agency was potentially a part of it?
So, Congressman, the House set to vote on this issue next month on whether to hold Lois Lerner in contempt. What do you think will happen, and how does this play out?
Well, I think the House will, a majority of the House is going to vote to hold her in contempt. I've already voted to hold her in contempt on committee, and I will do that again on the full floor of the House. The bottom line is she has not been willing to provide any information to the committee. She testified about her innocence, and then she refused to answer questions. But you can't do that. The Fifth Amendment doesn't work that way. So I'm confident, I think most of my colleagues are confident that she waived her Fifth Amendment right, and she either needs to answer our questions or she's going to be held in contempt.
Congressman, let's switch gears. We talked about what's been going on with the veterans' medical situation and the lack of care veterans are receiving. In fact, up to, well, at least 40 deaths are being attributed to the fact that these veterans were on waiting lists and secret waiting lists at that. What's your response? You're a former Navy JAG officer. I mean, the more you get into this issue, the more outrageous it becomes.
It is absolutely sickening. I mean, probably the number one honor I have as a member of Congress in terms of the duties that I perform is to help our veterans. Unfortunately, this whole VA system has been a long-running national tragedy with how it's served our veterans. And this particular instance where you have a secret list where these men were dying on a secret list, I think reaches a new low. It turns my stomach to even think about. But I think what we need to do, obviously, is get to the bottom. We need all the facts out for this. And look, I don't think this is probably confined to Phoenix. I think we may see that this happen in other instances. But we need to have accountability in the VA. And I'm a co-sponsor of a bill that will allow some of these senior managers and senior executive officials to be fired if they're not getting the job done. Right now, the civil service rules, typical for a government agency, is no matter what you do, short of committing a serious crime, you kind of just stay in the system. You may get shuffled somewhere else, and that's unacceptable. These guys served for us. We need to get the job done for them, and if these people can't do that, then they need to be sent packing, and we need to put someone else in there who can.
And very quickly, got 30 seconds left, Congressman. Speaker Boehner getting a little testy with fellow Republicans on immigration reform or the lack of it. Do you feel his frustration, or do you think he's taking an inappropriate stance?
Oh, I thought it was totally inappropriate, and I just saw the clips, so I don't know the context, but the idea that somehow a lot of us aren't willing to make big decisions is just totally false. I think the problem is some of the Gang of Eight style reforms that he's actually just repeat the mistakes of the past. So I have no interest in repeating past mistakes as it relates to illegal immigration.
We're already out of time. Thank you so much, Congressman Ron DeSantis, for joining us from Jacksonville tonight. We appreciate it.